So, this is Donkey Kong Country 3 on the Game Boy Advance. Came out in 2005. Quite late, much like Donkey Kong Country 3 on the Super Nintendo. In general, this is the highest effort remake out of the trilogy of Game Boy Advance remakes. Same menu as before for that. This is also something I need to fix for the aspect ratio. Hold on one moment, because I had it in Game Boy Color. Because we fucked around with showing off the, other version. The Game Boy Color version, I showed that off for like 15 minutes. Hey, Shinon. Hey, Screensaver. Hey, Chao Goku Ozaru. But yeah, no, I caught it. I caught it. I do look at my preview window, but I appreciate chat for looking out. But yeah. So this is by far the most extensive remake. It is pretty interesting. And I did also own this one. I did own this one on Game Boy Advance. You can already tell there's like some differences. Like there was that little fish that popped out of the river there. See him? Yeah. That's like not in the original. All kinds of stuff like that. Oh wow. I completely forgot that they changed this entirely. This looks terrible. Why did they do this? Wrinkly's original, like, shack or house or whatever was pretty awesome, actually. Like, I thought that was great. I don't know what they did here, why they did any of this. What's wrong with them? Why? I'm not reading all that. I know it's just about the banana birds. But holy shit, what did you do? This is also just extremely flat lighting here. They just like re-rendered, did a whole like shitty thing in like Alias Maya or 3ds Max. They like whipped this up in like 10 minutes and then like rendered it with no lighting. He may be a toddler, but if you let him throw you upwards, you'll almost reach the stars. Oh yeah. Yeah. Kiddy Kong is definitely just as useful as Donkey Kong and definitely has his own identities. And we have minigames again, as you can see. You're just gonna hire the boat. Minigames will be something we'll look at the end of the stream. So I do not have these things bound to their original buttons, so I don't know how this Simon Says shit's gonna go. I'm probably gonna get it wrong. Because, like, I reversed the buttons on the A and B because they're weird as hell to use on anything but a Game Boy. Oh, okay, they're using the control pad. Okay, well, that's smart. Okay. So yeah, this is them retooling this. So there's like a bunch of these little hidden caves and stuff. Does he scream in this version too? Well, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out how much, if he at all screams. So, here we are. Music starts a bit late. I don't know why. Anytime you're ready. There it is. I always remember that being a weird thing where the music starts super, super late for no reason. Yeah, we have a new soundtrack by David Wise. Can we do the water skip in this? We can, okay. I have been on record to voice my opinion that I feel like David Wise made 2 amazing video game soundtracks, and then that was kind of it. I wouldn't say his work here is terrible, but it's definitely no Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. Like, this isn't what I would describe as awful. Like, this isn't like the tier of like the garbage dumpy shit that he put out recently for Gimmick 2 soundtrack. But you be the judge. I might bump up the audio a little bit. Last stream, I kind of felt like it was a bit borderline because the problem with the audio of the Game Boy Advance is it has a lot of perceived loudness, or the dB levels are not really fully representative of how well I come in versus the game audio. I'm not sure, screensaver. Maybe you misread that. But yeah, this is in some ways, some will say that this is the best way to play this game. We will see. Because they did overhaul a bunch of stuff, but there's also a lot of things that I definitely have things to say about. Also, like, most of these levels have warps. I don't remember where this one has a warp, but most of like the first world has like warps for shit. But I usually like to showcase the whole levels anyway. That background is real crunchy. That's like GIF tiers of compression. You actually need to be Dixie for this. Like, this is mega crunched. Much like the second Donkey Kong Country, they really Giga Boots, thank you for the support. 11 months, wow. That's a good while. Yeah, they might have looked it up on Tenor GIFs. It's true. But yeah, the thing with the stars is they made it like the same as they did in Donkey Kong Country 2, where honestly they just improved that part of the game. The stars were very finicky to collect in the Super Nintendo original, so I'm glad that they actually continue to use that improvement in this version. Yeah, almost a year. It's true. Yeah, it's there's a lot of things that are honestly the same physics-wise as the second game's remake. Like, a lot of it just seems to be carried over from that. Even though it's wrong. That's their failure sound. Even though it looks wrong, or like feels wrong, looks wrong, it's functional. It's functional. But no, like, my general, like, what I remembered of this is I remembered this being the most high effort of the three as far as the remake goes. But it's also for a game that is not exactly the most well-liked in the trilogy. I definitely have problems with this game. Like even the original Super Nintendo one. My main problem with this game is that it is just simply put too long. It's very bloated. It has too much stuff, you know? There are too many levels. They have an over-reliance on gimmicks for like half the levels. They're very much like kind of just like scraping the bottom of the barrel with a lot of the ideas for like half of the stages in this game. Oh, I missed the thing. Damn. Just barely missed it. But, you know, you can definitely tell that having someone do a Game Boy Advance exclusive soundtrack was kind of the direction they should have gone in the first place. doing that so late into the trilogy at the very end is a bit of a strange thing. Like, it's just really late to do that. Like, you think they would have concluded that at the beginning and done that. So that's kind of one of the weird things about this too, is just why did you wait till the end to actually just do a new soundtrack? You know? Strange stuff. I see On Guard's the same as he was in the other two games. For better and for worse. But yeah, like, the thing about these remakes in general, chat, is that there's like a rather immense amount of changes with all these. Like, we're talking like hundreds of different things. I'm obviously not going to be capable of covering all of that on a live stream, and there's like definitely some times where I notice things and don't point it out, just because like there's only so many times I'm gonna, like, you know, dead stop the stream to just point out like a tiny little difference or detail or whatever. But there is someone who has done that for the first two Donkey Kong Country remakes, where like they spent like a really long time meticulously going through them and making a YouTube video that like covers all of the differences and shit. So like that kind of stuff is out there. Yeah, Green Link is the guy. Their stuff gives you the full gamut. It's very extensive though. Like, even just for the first game, I think like the video is like an hour and a half long. So like it's a pretty huge thing. And the one he did for Donkey Kong Country 2 Game Boy Advance, I think is like 2.5 hours. So like, yeah, these things have a lot of differences. Like, just as an example, right? That bonus that I reached by jumping up from the water, that's not something you could do on the Super Nintendo. It's impossible. So that's like just another micro change that was made. Which, that's an improvement. Like, that's just straight up, that was an improvement, because that was really annoying on the Super Nintendo. That the only way you could reach that bonus was water skipping. So, here's my problem with this soundtrack, and this is where this comes into play. This fucking music for this winter stage is a straight downgrade. Hey, JC. Like, this is some fucking clown shit. It's terrible. So it's really a mixed bag. Some of them are good, but then you have stuff like this where it's like, were you even trying, David? What were you doing here? Like, what are we doing? And now it's like doing some atmospheric thing. Oh no, it's just a very short loop. Oh, that's dire. So like that's like a 40-second loop. Like, what is this, guys? Like, what are we doing? Because hold on a second. I know the capture's gone because I went out of full screen. But just one moment here. Bear with me. Bear with me. Because I can just bring this up on the fucking, on Fubar. And play the original just like next to this. Just for those who don't remember, right? For those who don't have as good a memory what it sounds like in the original. Because, like, it's a real departure. It's really, really strange. And normally I don't do this, but it's such an egregious thing that I have to. Let's see. Where are you at on this list of soundtrack? Okay. I think it's this one. Yeah. So this is a 2.5 minute loop for the original. Atmospheric. You know, there's stuff going on here. There's a lot of instrumentation. We're gonna skip further. So, you know, you get the idea, right? And, let me pause the emulator. And then whatever the fuck this is. This is why I call David Wise a hack, chat. And also, David Wise didn't do, like, hardly any of the soundtrack for the third Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo, just for the record. Sorry, I just had to drink some cold brew. Tommy Fists. Oh, I respawned, okay. I mean, yeah, I have cold brew, like, basically every day, and it's always, like, at the start of stream. It's how it kind of rolls out. Hey, Manobee. Oh, we're very early. I was just pointing out how fucking terrible this David Wise music is for this stage. Not the bonus stage, but, like, the normal winter stage. And I was comparing it with the Super Nintendo. Yeah, David Wise did a whole new soundtrack for this remake on Game Boy Advance, which has very mixed results. I don't hate all of his tracks. Like, I think what he uses for this one is good. Like, I think this is probably an improvement, because the original for this is kind of not great. So, like, this one works out pretty well, but then that last one is, like, terrible. And I know about the warp there, but we'll do the level in, like, sincere because people want to see it. But that is one of the warps I remember. I usually skip this stage because it's kind of annoying. Because of shit like that. Yes, it really did. It's quite dire. We were talking about that a little earlier of how it looks like it was like ripped from Tenor or something. You know, obviously Tenor didn't exist then, but you know, the joke being what it is. Damn it. So about why I like to skip this level. Game Boy Color. Yeah. It is true, there is a Game Boy Color version of Donkey Kong Country 3. Well, actually, no, it's technically Donkey Kong Land 3. It is a different game. There are a lot of overlap, though. Like, Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3 share a lot with the Super Nintendo versions. Donkey Kong Land 1 is by far, like, the most interesting of that trilogy. It's also the hardest, and it's not even close. Donkey Kong Land 1 is an extremely difficult game at times. It's really unfair. Like, it has some massive difficulty spikes that are just completely insane. Yeah, that's correct. It was only available in Japan for Game Boy Color version. People have done patches and stuff and translations and all that, which I think is how I streamed it about 2 or 3 years ago at this point. I don't know if I could actually bear to go back to the Donkey Kong Land games, to be quite honest. At least not, like, playing them, like, without cheating in parts. What is that LE sound effect? Don't worry about it. It's fine. Oh, they added that in. A really bad... Oh, they have the burps. Good. Thank you, Rare. We needed extra burps. They made that burp higher fidelity. He burped in the original, but like... Yeah, and they added the chomps. This boss music is fucking terrible, by the way. Ah, we got Chivo. We're getting to Cremwood Forest. I was talking about this earlier. The retro achievement set for this is quite small. It actually, unless the minigames are really bad, which is very possible, it actually looks like getting a mastery of this would be pretty easy. Because there's not a lot of achievements. It's mostly just, like, get everything in the game is, like, the majority of what gets you most of what's in the set. I would sooner get the mastery in the Super Nintendo version, though, before I would try getting it in the GBA one. The music for this one's, like, fine, but it doesn't really belong. It's kind of my take. Like, this is a reasonably competent track that he composed, but it sounds like it's for a different game that's not Donkey Kong Country. It's a very different vibe. Hold on. We won't do this too often, but I think every now and then it's going to be worth doing. Let me see, which one are you? I don't know all of the names off the top of my head. Is this one? Yeah. So this is what it sounds like on Super Nintendo. Completely different. Not even remotely the same. Yeah, so, like, very different vibes. I really need to set a hotkey for pausing and unpausing the emulator. I think that David Wise just changed things just to have them be different. Like, it kind of felt like a lot of, like, his ideas with this soundtrack were mostly just, I'm gonna make it really, really different, and that's about it. So, like, whatever they did on the Super Nintendo, I'm just gonna, like, go the exact opposite direction. That kind of just seems to be, like, the whole concept here. They're very mixed results. Very mixed results. Like I said, I don't hate all of the music in this, but also some of it just feels like it doesn't really belong. Also, I don't know what they did to the sprites on these, like, whatever you call these things, but they look really bad. Like, they look like they have spray paint on them or something. They look really, really weird. What is the point of that? Just to kill me? It would be rough. It sounds rough on like Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 on GBA both sound rough. There's no getting around that. They did their best, but there's a reason they decided to just go with the new soundtrack, which again, really late. It took them way too long to figure that out. Am I supposed to just go around? I guess I'm supposed to go around. I'm definitely not trying to 100% this, but, you know, when you see stuff, you know, may as well. Hi, Uno Squid, welcome in. was just for the letter N. There's like not really any reason for me to have the TNT, I guess. Unless there was a bonus I missed. Again, I don't have this game memorized for its completionist. It's not exactly my favorite way to play these games, especially this one. This is the kind of thing that if I wanted to, I would just comb over it on the Super Nintendo version with a the DKC Atlas maps. I definitely would not figure out all this on my own. Oh yeah, some people didn't see it. Oh, actually, I haven't gotten Cranky's Dojo at all. I guess we could take a look real quick. He has minigames. Yeah, different minigame. Gone is the throwing snowballs around and other things. I guess we'll check out this minigame real quick, even though I said we would wait till the end. It's right here. Help me deflect these spiky critters with my trusty shield. Use the control pad to move the shield into the correct blocking position. You'll get a reward based on your performance. Oh, right, I see. Oh, yeah. I remember this. I wonder how unfair this gets. It certainly lasts a while. Okay. Yeah, it's certainly cheap renders. So you get the banana birds through this. I see. So they changed that as well. Of course they did. Did they change the Bleak boss fight? I don't remember. I guess we'll find out together. Got a leaderboard attempt for this level, which I kind of expected. Fuck that up. Water skips are hard to do even on the Super Nintendo. And this one also seems like a major downgrade from the Super Nintendo. There's like an attempt to have like dynamic music whenever you're like in the water, but you're not in the water for long enough for this to matter, so I don't know why efforts were put forth on that. Fuck. I ranked 211. Wow. I don't know how those numbers check out because I saw one that was 10 seconds. Is there like a warp? There must be a warp. Like there were multiple entries that were around 10 seconds. Yeah, this background's real unfortunate. I will tell you this, chat. So far, emphasis on so far, this game does seem to control a lot better than the previous 2 Game Boy Advance remakes. It definitely feels a lot better in general to play this. Is it better than the SNES version? Fuck no. But, like, this one actually, like, feels like it's not bullshitting me so far. Like, it's not dropping my inputs. We'll see how that holds up once we get to, like, our actual auto-scroll levels and stuff. We'll know for sure when we get to those, but so far, I'm pretty positive on how it controls. Because, for those who are not aware, 1 and 2 remakes have really bad controls in many ways, and they are very broken in terms of their physics. Like, not the fun kind of broken, the, no, it literally does not work correctly at all kind of broken. Yeah, they're doing their best with the names of these levels. What's an idea for a bonus? I don't know. Have them jump back and forth across some rats in some contraptions like hamsters. Make that a bonus stage. You got it, boss. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Remember how good Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 soundtracks are? Yeah, I think the most unfortunate thing so far, honestly, is just, like, these backgrounds are terrible. I don't know what happened here. The Game Boy Advance can do so much better than this. Like, I don't even think there's any backgrounds in 1 and 2 remakes that, like, look this deep fried. I genuinely don't know what occurred. Like, sure, they'll have blown out colors or whatever, but, like, their actual, like, pixel count and fidelity were, like, reasonable. So it's kind of perplexing. Thankfully, we're pretty much done these stages. Like, I think the only other stage that has this aesthetic is, like, in the secret levels. Maybe. There might be, like, 1. But otherwise, I think this might be its last appearance. What's this? Oh, it's the dash thing. I think Swanky's Dash is like another mini game, or they're like some form of time trials or something. We'll look at that probably after we beat the game or something. Anything that has the word dash in it, I tend to be repulsed by. Why is this so fucking green? Why does this have, like, the fucking Fallout 3 filter on it? It's, like, piss yellow and, like, green. One of the harder levels in the original. Yeah, it definitely feels like more of a Game Boy Color deal. It's very strange that the background turned out that way. The background in this isn't great either, by the way. Like, it also looks like Game Boy Color when you look at it, like the trees and shit. Like, why is that so, like, 8-bit looking? What happened with the backgrounds? Yeah, I guess that's what they're trying to go for. It just doesn't look good on this sort of deal. At least it's not, like, insane like it is in, Donkey Kong Country 1 for GBA, where it was, like, extremely blown out. That was really rough. Like, Poison Pond looked insane. Well, that was our mistake. Yeah. The funny monkeys with their projectiles, it's important. It's important stuff. What is this letter? You know, it's very interesting to me that the retro achievement sets for basically all of the Donkey Kong Country 1 retro achievement sets all want you to get all the Kong letters. But the other two don't give a fuck. It's only the first game that they want you to do that, which I found interesting. Because that was a pretty annoying extra thing to do for both the Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance. Like, I don't know why they thought that was the retro achievements thing to do. But yeah, they stopped caring. Wait, what are we doing? We go. Okay, I was looking for the banana. I'm like, what? I can barely see these. Because they're, like, cutting off on the camera. Like, I don't have enough... I can't... Are they just slow to appear? What's going on here? Whatever. That seemed to not really work like it should have. It worked better on the Super Nintendo. Like, there was something wrong with how those were spawning. Aren't the green bananas only for Chunky? Now. Donkey Kong 64 is not what we're playing. I don't like that noise. Very wet. Hey, Sadlog. These are questions that do not need to be answered. Nobody is wondering. Well, we can't have every video game be on the GameCube, as it turns out. In many cases, there are very few GameCube games when you compare it to the other libraries. Don't worry, though, they make up for it in value with games like Sphinx and The Cursed Mummy that are like 25 hours long. They find ways to make sure that you get your money's worth out of your GameCube. Yeah, it's the best. Best value. Hey, Shooten Games. Yep, P&O 3. That's true. There is P&O 3. P&O 3 is certainly a game that can be played. What do they want me to do here? Do they want me to go back and get the steel barrel? Is that... What? No, that's too far. What are we... Oh, you just want me to shoot you? Oh, yeah. I remember now. Yeah, there we go. Terrible noise. What did they do to those? What? Why did the sprite change like that? What's happening? Yeah, the PS2 and PS1 projects are impossible to complete, generally speaking. I think there's like one guy who's trying to do PS2, but it's impossible. So like, I don't really understand the appeal of that when it's not a doable project, you know? Getting people invested and interested in a project that literally cannot be done is a little strange. But hey, that's just me. Why did it spawn that? I guess I didn't need it, but it thought I did. See, the problem with the PS2 is if you think that the GameCube has too many racing and sports games, the PS2 has like multitudes more. Like an incalculable amount more. I think like ballpark estimates, because I did do the numbers, but like I don't have them memorized. There's something in the range of like 60, I think like 60 racing games on the GameCube, and then there's like, I think 120 sports games, but sports is like a very like, it's a hard to define category because there is a lot of deliberation of what is a sport. Do we count this as a sport? Do we count that as a sport? So, you know, liberally speaking, for sports, there's about like 120 or so on the GameCube. But like for the PS2, like just multiply that several fold, right? PS2 got like every racing and sports game pretty much. So you just be trapped in that hell forever. And then like the several endless amounts of RPGs. So many RPGs that are so long. This boss fight seems to be roughly the same as it is on the SNES. Yeah, it's basically identical. Oh, you just did a full completionist thing on the SNES. Ooh. Yeah, that would take time, unless you really know the game. Yeah, this is a very different game in some ways. And then in some ways it isn't. Or I have to go back to Funky. And yes, they made sports games like really, really late into the life cycle of the PS2. And they would do like the rhythm games too. Like there's so many rhythm games on the PS2. Great ones too, I'm sure, of course. But like, just think about that, right? Yeah, so for whatever reason, they let you select it like this, which is a bit odd. Like, you can select which vehicle you want. I don't know why you would want to do this, but they have a diegetic menu for doing that. So then we have a choice of, like, which of the worlds we want to do first. I usually like to do this one first. But I think this one tends to be a bit harder in general, so let's do Mechanos first. Just get it out of the way. Another unfortunate background. Yeah, all the 3D assets that they did for these remakes are really bad. Any of the ones you could tell that they made. They did on, like, the lowest of budgets possible. I don't trust this game to be like the SNES. I bet that those fireball things hit you, even if, like, they're on a different elevation. So I don't really feel like risking it. I don't remember if this is the bonus route. I might be going the bonus route. Yeah, I am. Yeah, there are some levels that are just annoying to try and get everything in. It's one of the many reasons I don't typically enjoy getting everything in games like these. I'll probably end up doing it at some point, though. If nothing else, for some retro achievements and just to engage with a part of these games I haven't engaged with in like 20 years. I hated it for Donkey Kong Country 1. I'll be interested to find out if I end up hating it for Donkey Kong Country 2. I don't think I will. I'll probably enjoy that a lot more for just getting everything. But I probably won't have that great of a time getting everything for this. For Donkey Kong Country 3 in general. Such an annoying little gimmick. There we go. At least, like, the Game Boy Advance versions, like, have proper tracking for your collectibles. So, like, while I'm getting a few odds and ends here and there as I'm playing, I'm not going for everything on one, you know, attempt of a level. We're not 100%ing this on stream, right? But, like, just kind of grabbing a few things is actually fine because it'll track it and tell you. Speaking of, let's save. This is what they did with the pause screen, just in case you were wondering. Let's take a closer look. Do they actually track it in this one? Hold on. I can't seem to get to any other menus. Like, I can't. Also, why is that bandage, like, having a fucking flip out? Why is it, like... Why is it doing that? Yeah, I'm a little confused by these, because maybe they don't individually track the levels anymore. Because I can't seem to get to any other menu. I'm pressing all these buttons and I can't. Doesn't seem like they actually have anything. They did for the first two games, for the GBA versions. I don't know why they don't seem to have it here. That's bizarre. I know that they probably still have the original thing with the flags and stuff. Like that, I get that. Like, you can still kind of get an idea from that. But, like, I was kind of hoping they would be like the other ones where they'd tell you, did you get the hero coin? How many of the bonuses are left? That sort of thing. Because the flags won't tell you that level of detail. So it's a bit strange that it appears like this remake doesn't have it. It does? Okay, but here's my question. Why did they do it this way? The previous two games on the Game Boy Advance just had trackers. They just gave you the numbers. Why change it now? That's my question. Like, why now? It's basically going backwards and making it convoluted for no reason. All right, so this is our first auto-scroll stage. Wow, they really made this jump very floaty. Wow, it goes so much higher than it did originally. Probably makes it easier. I guess we'll find out. It also seems like it might be moving slower. Yeah, it's not just me, okay. Because it goes a lot faster in the original. In fairness, there are a couple points in this level that are quite annoying on Super Nintendo. So I can sort of understand them, like, making it easier because, like, a couple of the jumps are really, really hard. At least if you're trying to get everything. Like, they're so friggin' hard that, like, you almost, like, It almost feels like it's sort of luck if you'll get hit or not. Like, this jump is still actually kind of fucked up. to be honest, that jump is still kind of fucked up in this version, but easier still if you know that you can just go up higher in this one, so you can just skip that section if you just jump at the right time. Well, first death. Did I even get a checkpoint? Okay, I did. Yeah, it took like almost an hour to die. Yeah, so you can just easily clear that with this version. You just have to know when to jump. God damn it. They really fucked this up. It is easier, but also because, like, muscle memory and stuff, it's kind of fucking with me a bit. The GBA remakes love to do that. It certainly is a cry. So hopefully all the answers about Kiddy Kong's cries and yells on this version have been understood. Everyone knows now. They had to change it up. They had to change it up. These Game Boy Advance remakes were obsessed with changing sounds on everything. Did you know that my first exposure to Link to the Past was the Game Boy Advance version? And in the Game Boy Advance version, they every time Link swings his sword, he yells at the top of his lungs. And you can just, like, swing your sword pretty fast in that. So, like, you could just have Link just constantly overlaying his yells constantly, like, over and over again. It's like, ah, 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 ah. That's basically what you get. And you get to hear that for the entire playthrough. Pretty cool, right? You know, this is the music that I like to play when there's a horrifically large saw coming to just destroy me, murder me. This is the music I want to hear when this is going down. You know, I'm just walking to the store, having a good time, while there's a saw just chasing me. Well, that's okay. We continue. Did you know, chat, that Expedition 33, Claire Obscure, is a really good video game? It's true. What they say is true. The game do be really good. Turns out the French can make good video games. I joke, but they actually have. The French have made some pretty fucking great unhinged games over the course of gaming history. Like Cryo Games was French. They're not really around anymore, I don't think. I think they've long since, like, gone the way of the dodo. But they had a good run. And Cryo Games was French, and they made all kinds of, like, cool FMV shit and, like, weird, bizarre, like, experimental video games. I learned about all the stuff with cryo through watching Macaw 45. Probably true for a lot of people. Speaking of Macaw, there was a really funny thing I saw on Blue Sky that is trending. It has like over 15,000 likes and a bunch of people talking about it. There's like a Taiwan DOS game, and someone showcased like one of the absurd attack animations that this like Taiwanese RPG on the DOS has, and it's just like really well animated and it's really unhinged. Yeah, I saw that first on Macaw's stream. Macaw streamed that game to completion, like, I think 3 years ago or something. So it was really funny to see something I saw on Macaw's stream, like, a while ago. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the game Macaw played. It's actually one of his top clips showing that attack. So it's kind of interesting that hit, like, mainstream attention, so to speak, right? I found that a bit wild. But, you know, I think that's the thing that is, to me, a lot more interesting about retro streaming, like streaming retro games on Twitch. Is that, like, you know, it's more interesting to discover stuff and learn about stuff, by and large, than it is to, you know, just play only your comfort games and that's about it, you know? That's kind of why I appreciate streamers like Macaw, because they get into the dank shit. I don't know how I took damage there. Oh, the game broke. Cool remake. Neat. We should go back. Let's go back. What's going on? Okay, it's fine now. Can you not kill that guy? Maybe not with Squitter. Spyro is indeed comfy. But here's the thing, there's like a good number of like retro games. That's unfortunate. There's a good number of retro games that don't really get much play on Twitch Retro. Spyro is one of those. Crash is another. They're not obscure games by any means, but there's definitely, like, not a lot of people who stream them. Same with, like, the Tony Hawk games. You're gonna rarely see people stream the Tony Hawk games, even though they were extremely popular. There are oddities on Twitch Retro. While I definitely enjoy watching people explore new shit... Oh, thanks for the clip. I do enjoy watching people explore new games or new in quotes, you know. Old, dank games nobody's fucking heard of can be very interesting sometimes. I also like watching things that just people won't stream for whatever reason. That's also pretty cool. Even though they're popular, just people won't stream them. No, the thing about like licensed music on Twitch is, by a technicality, it's a no-no, but also like nothing of consequence ever happens. And like everything is licensed with music on Twitch. Like every piece of music in existence is licensed. Almost nothing in a video game uses royalty-free music, right? Somebody owns something, And that's just how it goes with music. Like, so if, you know, technically speaking, like, me streaming this game right now is not, like, it is something that could be enforced, and, like, Nintendo could take this down if they wanted to, right? Like, there's nothing stopping Nintendo legally from taking down my stream because I've streamed this game. They could do that. Will they? No. They don't give a fuck. But, like, you know, game companies do have the right to just take your shit down. And some of them have done it in the past, depending on factors. So, like, I guess my point is that there's a lot of stuff with, like, YouTube content and Twitch content that are not, like, that could be enforceable by various laws to get taken down. And there's largely a social contract when it comes to the streaming these types of games and shit. There's a social contract that's upheld that it benefits them to get exposure to various things. So thus it is continued to be allowed because it helps a lot in their marketing and it doesn't cost them anything. At least under most circumstances, it really doesn't cost them anything. A lot of people will market your game for free. So that's kind of like why, like, that sort of stuff is just whatever to me. Like, worrying about the licensed music stuff at this point is kind of like just nothing. If it ever becomes a problem again, there are people who will have much bigger problems than people streaming retro games on Twitch. But yeah, there's always a lot of things with legal shit that's just kind of arbitrary and made up, so I don't really worry about it too much. It does depend where you live, of course. Places like Japan, I'm not even sure if there are any others except Japan, but Japan's really draconian and, like, insanely strict and cruel when it comes to their enforcement of copyright shit, even with streaming, and they get completely... They're completely crazy about that sort of thing. All those things I just mentioned are not true in Japan. Like, they actually will just fucking cut you down in Japan over all the things that I just mentioned. So, like, it's kind of wild. Yeah, like, you have to get permission to stream games and shit. And, like, even for, like, modding video games and shit, you have to get permission from, like, the modders to show their mod on your stream. They do. Yeah, they have a 3 strikes rule. I don't think it's, like, all time, though. I could be wrong. I don't know if it's still all time or if it has, like, a cooldown like YouTube does. But I know that there is a strike system regardless. The strike system has always been really fucking stupid, like it's baseball or some shit. Where'd that even come from? Like, I don't know what baseball has to do with fucking copyright shit on a fucking website. Like, there's all kinds of... Do you ever think about just all kinds of stupid, dumb shit that people make up and apply to other things that don't make sense? I think about that sometimes. It's interesting, Baxter. It seems to be roughly the same boss fight as on the Super Nintendo. I will give them some credit where it's due. It's more visibly obvious where the flames end with the way how they animated it. It's actually a lot harder to tell where the flames actually stop hitting you on the Super Nintendo. So actually having lower fidelity on the flames here is an improvement, just from a gameplay perspective. Hi, Neon Harper. Welcome in. God. Is that an actual thing? Wouldn't surprise me, but that's funny. They got rid of the, all those, like, point systems, right? Did they also get rid of the platinum system on NSO? Ah, damn. What was with the massive delay on that one? Oh, did they change this? Oh, they changed how this worked. Okay. So that's one of the small changes they made to this boss fight, is it does that now. Okay. Before it would follow you, and now it does a pattern. I think. Yep. Yeah, so they changed it. So now it just goes like that and doesn't... Well, it still follows you, I guess, but it's on a massive delay. It used to be a lot harder, so that kind of tripped me up. It's kind of funny that sometimes the things that they make easier just mess with me because I'm used to the Super Nintendo way. It is true. That's funny. So the platinum points are still there. Yeah, that would make sense, because I was just wondering, like, how else would you get avatars and stuff, right? I see, I see. Alright, so as far as the remake goes, this is more interesting. Cotton Top Cove is probably more interesting. So we get an Aquatic Ambiance remix. In general, it kind of seems like most of David Wise, like most of his best music, is just him remixing 1 and 2 soundtracks. The times when he was really good at making music, that brief flash in the pan. So whenever he does a remix of something he made, it usually sounds good. Makes sense, right? So this is a Aquatic Ambiance remix. Yeah, the stuff with the Switch 2 is a constant bummer to me because, like, I don't have a lot of money. I'm not financially well off. And, like, you know, everything about the price of the Switch 2 stuff, down to the accessories and the games and the console itself, is all, like, just so much money, and it just can't afford it. So, like, I feel kind of priced out of that entire console. And I felt that again yesterday when they had opened up the Switch Online GameCube controllers for buying them. And I was able to buy one. I waited in line for like 30 minutes on their site or whatever, and they had them in stock, and I could have got one. But they wanted me to, with tax, they wanted me to spend 95 Canadian dollars to buy one. And I can't afford that. And it was just it's a crazy amount of money for a controller like that. So I just ended up having to pass on it, even though it would have been kind of nice to have for the GameCube challenge in theory. I say in theory because it's not officially supported on the actual GameCube, but I would assume that 8BitDo will update their Bluetooth adapter so that it works with that controller. Like, that makes sense. But, you know, it's just one of those things where it would have been nice to have another option that wasn't just the Wavebird. Like, actually have, like, a wireless GameCube controller that had rumble that didn't suck. But it kind of seems like because I wasn't able to get it during that period, I may not be able to get it, like, for a year or something. Like, it might just be really hard to get from this point forward. And it's also just so much money. But yeah, they're out of stock now. I mean, I'm sure that's a real shock. They had stock for a while, though. Like, on yesterday when they had opened it up to all NSO subscribers, it was up for sale for, like, I think, like, 6 hours before it went out of stock. So, like, they kept stock pretty well because they made you wait in line, and it was 1 per account. So, like, you know, they did a pretty good job with that. And apparently it's also IP restricted, too. I think at some point on a long enough time frame, I'll end up getting a Switch 2, but, like, I will very likely not get many games for it unless it was something that, here, like, for Twitch streaming, like, there was a high amount of interest. Like, it was essentially, it would be a thing of like, hey, chat, do you want me to stream this Switch 2 game? Well, that won't be free. You know?
Oblivion Bird donated 10.
Oblivion Bird, thank you for donating 10 to a much more constructive cause. A much more constructive cause of getting, you know, way better facial tracking for this model. So very much appreciate the support. Thank you for the 10. There was a time where I thought that I should figure out how to change the TTS for that. But I actually find that guy really funny. The way that he says certain things is really funny, so I think I'm just gonna leave it like that forever. The way that he says numbers and certain names is really funny. My general thing with the Switch 2 is, like, I don't judge anybody for wanting to get the thing, you know? And there's lots of reasons people would have to get the thing. Just speaking for myself personally, it's a bit of a bummer, just because, like, it's so expensive, the entire thing. And, like, I don't mind buying expensive things, but they need to have a little more value to me up front.
Gigaboots donated 10.
Gigaboots, thank you for donating 10. It's very much appreciated, thank you. But, yeah, so, like, you know, for me, it's more of, like, I ain't gonna give anybody a hard time for that sort of thing. Rip that bird. I'm not gonna give anyone a hard time over that. Just speaking for my own personal self, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't mind buying an expensive piece of electronics if there's, like, a really good reason for it. And, like, you know, there are good reasons for it. Like, you know, say you're someone like Neon Harper. Pretty cool streamer, by the way. Like, Neon Harper plays a lot of Nintendo games. Neon Harper streams. You know? Getting the new Switch 2? Kinda have to. You know? It's sort of a mandate. Same thing with Gigaboots, right? They do fine streams. They have to do a lot of coverage of the console. It's mandated by heaven they do that. I'm not getting that stupid coin. It's mandated by heaven that they have to own the thing. You know? For myself, it's not... To my knowledge, it's not, like, critical enough that I have to do that. Because I'm not a big enough streamer at present, especially, like, where there's pressure to get something like that.
Me123 donated 25.
Me123. Thank you for donating 25. That's very generous. I forgot the gimmick of this stage. Was this guy always here? Maybe he was. Thank you very much. We are very close to hitting that goal. I am very excited. Very much appreciate all the support, everyone. Especially over the past couple streams. Because, yeah, getting that facial tracking going will be a very exciting time. I don't know how long it'll end up... Shit, I pressed the wrong button. I don't know how long it'll end up taking getting it, like, implemented, but, you know, hopefully not terribly long. Re-banana'd. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I've never owned a game console at launch, so, like, honestly, like, this is pretty normal for me. I typically buy a game console, like, 2 years or sometimes more after they come out. I think it was... I got the Switch 1. I think I got that.
Motto BII donated 10.
Motto BII, thank you for donating 10. So we have reached the goal. Thank you so much, everyone. Honestly, wasn't expecting it to be reached that quickly. So thank you very much, everyone. It's very appreciated. I wish I had, like, I don't know, other words to say, but, you know... I definitely very deeply appreciate it, because, I think people will really fully understand and appreciate the value of getting a better face for this model. Like, just in terms of the animation. The actual face itself will remain the same, but, like, just getting the better animations and stuff will pay dividends.
Super 493X. Donated 10.
Thank you very much for donating 10, Super. The extra helps, of course. I won't say no to extra. I have been giving some thought to, like, what a new goal would be. And, I haven't fully ironed it out yet, but I have been thinking about it, you know? And I do wonder if, like, you know, maybe... I would have to really think about the games, I think, but it might be worth... Hi, Felly. Welcome on in. I'm thinking it might be worth at some point getting, like, a 3DS capture unit. My understanding is they're pretty good now. And I would just have to, like, do the thing of pay a dude to do the mod and all that, and then I would be able to, like, play 3DS and DS games on real hardware. And there might be some interest in that, I don't know. But I would really have to look at the library more to see, like, how interesting that's going to end up being before I would even think about putting up a goal for that. But it's a thought. It's an idea, you know? Because I know there's a lot of games trapped on those consoles. This level's crunchy? What do you mean? This is fine. Anyway, listen to this sound effect if this will work. Can I get it to work? Does this version not let you sip from the waterfall? Can I... How do you do it? Okay. Why is the input down and then right trigger? But yeah, like I was saying earlier, I think that this has a lot of problems. It's pretty obvious. People have been pointing out some of the issues with this version, right? But I will say, playing it, this appears to play the best out of the 3 GBA remakes. Like, just in terms of how it controls and stuff, this is much tighter and far less shit compared to those first 2. Those first 2 are broken. So, like, you know... Aw, shit. I will give them that they seem to have fixed that. As we get to harder levels, I'll see how that holds up, but, like... The playability here is a lot better so far. And yeah, we've talked about in past streams of playing through these versions that an important piece of context with these versions is that they were the best you could get for they were the best you could get to play these games portably, right? It was just the option at the time. Could they have done a lot of things better? Absolutely. But, they were deemed acceptable because they were the only way you could get them portably. It took quite a while before, 8-bit and 16-bit games were, like, you know, mainstream accessible on portable systems. In a lot of ways, like, depending on your perspective, it's only been, like, the past 5 or 6 years that they've really gone mainstream with that, where you can just get any kind of handheld and put ROMs on it, and away you go, right? Like, there were other options, but they were, like, less interesting to people and had more barriers of entry. Like, you know, yeah, you could, like, you know, get your PSP or your Vita or your 3DS and whatever and get stuff on there. But most people don't do that. Even if it is easy, like, most people won't do that. It's a lot easier for most people to just get, like, get one of those cheap Chinese handhelds or whatever, right? I mean, not anymore, but you know what I mean. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, you would have, like, official means, but they were always very limited, like your Super Nintendo Classic, stuff like that. And that wouldn't be portable, of course. And then whatever, like, they would give you on virtual consoles for the Wii and Wii U and stuff like that. My point is that people, in general, have a large aversion to modding and doing firmware and software things to products that they buy. So, like, even though the Super Nintendo Classic is pretty dang easy to, like, set up for, like, extra emulation stuff and all that, most people won't do it. Despite what Nintendo seems to think about a lot of stuff, a lot of people are very afraid of, like, downloading a ROM off of the computer. So, like, it's not as much of a big deal as what some people might be led to believe. So it's interesting. Using my good scared emote there. Definitely at some point we're gonna have to do more emotes. That honestly probably should be the next goal. Is just like, yo, we need to get more emotes. We got animated emote slots. That's probably the next move, really. And also, like, overlays. Get different overlay. I've been using the same overlay and background and stuff like that for like 3 years now, I think. Need to get some new stuff for that. This fucking thing again. This thing came... Dang it. This thing came straight out of the Amiga. It looks basically, like, very similar to how it looked in the, on the Super Nintendo. They're pretty faithful with this fella. I don't like that, like, weird sound they added when you hit him, though. But yeah, he's a gross fella. Okay, that missed. Yeah, this is, like, very Amiga core. For those who are familiar with Amiga games, this is, like, you know what I'm talking about. The Amiga was home to gross fellas. They made the platforms a bit slippery on this. Like an extra level of slippery that they weren't on the SNES. There we go. Yeah, the explosion noises are new. They're kind of gross. The British have problems. There can be things wrong with the British. Oh yeah, for people just coming in, I should show you Wrinkly's area. This is what it looks like now. Just in case you're curious. And this is what Funky's looks like now. There's like a lot of very strange changes. And some of them bad, some of them fine. But I do want to emphasize, it's kind of a miracle so far that, like, this seems to be quite playable in terms of the physics, because... Really gotta tell you, chat, like, you have no idea just how deeply fucked the first two games are with their physics compared to their Super Nintendo counterparts. Like, it's bad. And I'm not really getting those vibes nearly as much with this one. So, like... That's something, at least. Yeah, our Egyptian clock fortress, exactly. Oh yeah, I might be able to get another thing here. Because you also didn't see, like, how they changed, because, you know, people come in later. You don't get to see everything all at once. Let's go to one of these. So use the control pad now. It's like the D-pad. Oh, I fucked it up. But, you know, you get the idea, right? Wow, banana bird. Yeah, most of it is not eye-searing. Yes, all 3 of the remakes came out after the Game Boy Advance SP. The first 2 didn't get the memo, though. I don't know why, but the first 2 did not get the memo in the least. I gotta get some momentum with this. There we go. So K3 has some of the best music out of the original game's soundtrack. I forgot what David Wise did here. Oh. This is what you did, huh? Unfortunate. I suppose it could be worse. We'll let the whole thing loop first. At least it's longer than a lot of the other ones. It could be worse. Yeah, it's probably a full loop. Yeah, let me just contrast a bit with this one. So, I think it's this one. Yeah. To me, this is like one of the best tracks in the SNES version. And a lot more appropriate. Because that's part of the problem is, like, even if the music's fine enough and competent, it doesn't fit the level. Whereas this does. It's very perplexing. That's certainly a part of it, too, I feel. I can understand the difficulty. That sounds great. Like, this is an awesome build-up to the music and shit. And that's generally, like, most of the loop of that. Yeah, I don't know, it's just, it's unfortunate. Could be worse, though, like I said. I think the harmonica is charming. It just doesn't feel like it fits in the level. That's really the biggest problem with this one. I think the music itself is fine enough on its own. It's just not really what I would go with for something like this. It's Cranky's Dojo again. So far, I would say that which we're going to hear in this level probably, the music he made for the winter thing is, like, abysmal. Although, maybe they changed... No, this is a different track, okay. So we had a different track for this type of stage, interesting. This is looking pretty washed out, I'm gonna be honest. This is looking a little less like it's leveraging the GBA SP. I would love if there were, like, decent statistics to look at. How many people bought the Game Boy original, and how many people converted to a Game Boy Advance SP. I would be very curious to know. I would imagine that most must have converted, but I'm sure there would have been a decent percentage that never did, just out of financial reasons, if nothing else. And it's not to say, like, the original Advance didn't have some benefits. Ergonomically, it's a more comfortable system. It had better buttons. It had just a better form factor in some cases. It varied. It's really all about the screen being the mega unfortunate part of it, right? Hi, Saber. I started with an original Game Boy Advance and then got an SP. My Game Boy Advance original was an indigo color. Indigo is like the same color as the GameCube original, so it's kind of like a purple-ish. And then for the GBA SP, I have a jet black, which is just black, but they call it jet black because they're cool. Nintendo had all kinds of funny color names for shit. I think they kind of still have them, but they don't use the color names as much. The GBA SP's clamshell thing with the snap is very, very cool. And the clicky buttons have their own kind of set of appeal. It's not my preferred go-to. I much prefer the more squishy kind of feedback with that. It's very much a preference thing. It always has been, right? But I find it very... We're not gonna do that again? Okay. We took after the automotive industry, yeah. You can learn a lot from the automotive industry. It seems like they might have made these barrels easier to deal with. You kind of, like, seem to snap to them now. See, like that? Like, I don't think that was something that would happen on the SNES. So it seems like they sort of improved on this. Made this less of a fucking torture chamber. Because these barrels are really hard to deal with on the original game. No, I'm not really familiar by their model name, unfortunately. But I know that there were different revisions and stuff of the SP and maybe of the original Game Boy Advance. Yeah, I still have my systems. They're not in the best of shape, but I've got them. At some point, whenever I can get around to finding my Game Boy Advance link cable, which who knows if I will actually be able to find it. There's, like, all kinds of things related to that system that just seem to be hard to find for some reason. I just can't find where they're at. But if I can find it, or just buy another one or whatever, at some point I want to showcase the link cable functionality for the GameCube, you know? Because there is, like, some of that I've left on the table because I just don't have the... I don't have the setup yet. I don't have that cable around. I would definitely want to make sure that I have that all settled and figured out whenever we get to Wind Waker, because it has some pretty notable gameplay differences if you have the link cable for Wind Waker. Fuck. Messed that up. That was a late barrel. Guess they don't respawn that one. That's fine. Okay, that's the backlit one. I think I have the backlit SP. I'm not certain, but I haven't been able to notice it being frontlit when I've looked at it in the past, so I think I have the backlit one. You picked up the micro? That's a weird one. The micro would hurt my hands so badly if I used it. I was always kind of fascinated by the micro, though, just as a bizarre version of the GBA. But it's a weird little system. I've like basically settled on for any portable stuff. I've settled on just the analog pocket. It's one of the big purchases I made earlier into the year, and I am extremely glad that I made that decision. Also, this guy yells now. Enjoy. Yeah, they added that in. Yeah, I got the analog pocket at the best possible time, and I felt like I won so hard in the long term. Because the analog pocket... Enjoy your food. I am calling it up. I'm calling it up. I'm having a pretty alright time. But yeah, the analog pocket, I got it at the best possible time, because I live in Canada, right? And typically when you buy boutique kind of styled products like that, you end up paying quite a bit in taxes and like duty fees and other shit. And at the time, former president, or prime minister rather, of Canada, Trudeau, was doing a thing where you could get tax-free on certain items. And the analog pocket ended up being one of those items. And even though I bought it from another country, I didn't have to pay any taxes on the analog pocket. So essentially, I got the analog pocket for the cheapest you can get it in Canada. So I ended up paying far less for it than I would have, like, if I had bought it, say, like, now. So it was a bit of a tough decision at the time, because I didn't know what the deal with the Switch 2 stuff was going to be. That was very uncertain at the time. We didn't know what the prices were and other things. So I was like kind of thinking about that, right? Of like, well, if I get the analog pocket, I'm not going to have money to get a Switch 2. But then as it turned out, the Switch 2 was so freaking expensive for the whole thing, with the games and accessories and stuff, that I wouldn't have been able to really realistically afford it anyway. So getting the analog pocket when I did, hell yeah. And that's that story. I don't know if you can get them at the moment, but stock for the analog products, particularly the pocket, have been a lot better for quite some time. But with like all the fears of tariffs and stuff like that looming over global economy shit, I wouldn't be surprised if analog's not really keeping their stuff in stock now, because their people might just be buying it, like, in larger quantities, right? Hard to say. Like, I haven't looked. Well, I fucked that up badly. Dixie's throw is not great. Yeah, so that's the analog pocket story. And basically that's my go-to. For like portable gaming shit, like for, you know, those consoles. So any Game Boy stuff that I'm playing that aren't retro achievements or other stuff like that. Oh, this looks awful. This is a horrible color palette. Whatever they did here is terrible. So all that stuff is done on the analog pocket, and it's a great form factor. So in other words, like, I don't really have any desire to use my Game Boys outside of, like, pure nostalgia. That would be it. The analog pocket more than covers all that in general. But obviously, you know, the analog pocket won't work with like a GameCube or anything, so I still need a Game Boy Advance for the GBA link cable stuff down the road. This fucking music. What was he thinking? Yeah, this is a very unfortunate, like, palette that they went with. They're, like, trying to make it, like, evening or something, and it looks bad. That's basically it. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if, like, at some point during the very long GameCube challenge that, like, my GameCube dies at some point. That wouldn't shock me. It was used quite a lot. It's the childhood GameCube. Same one I had back then I'm using now. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't last through the whole challenge. These things happen. But the good news is that, like, all the stuff that I use for the challenge, like the mods and stuff, they're all soft mods, so, like, I can just take them out. You know, it's like if the GameCube died or whatever, I can just take out all those mods and chips and put them in another GameCube that I get off eBay or something. Okay. So we still do this. Okay, but this is the button we use, alright. Dixie's just, like, there. What's she doing there? You see her in the corner there, chat? Did you see her, like, in the bottom left? Her sprite's not really done. Whatever. I wonder if they made this fight easier. It was kind of cruel in the original. I think they might have made it so, he lingers a little longer, perhaps. We'll see as the phases go through. It's so loud. Alright, I think they made him easier. He also doesn't go up. Did you notice that? Like, he doesn't go into the distance. I don't know if that was just, like, good RNG, but I'm pretty sure he's programmed in the SNES to go up above. So I think they, like, made that fight in general easier. Interesting. Yeah, that's the wording I was trying to use, 2 rows. Did you know that, like, saying words is sometimes hard? Let me check out this link. Wasn't sure what this was, but let me take a look. Alrighty. I also really, really need to, like, unbind the keyboard button for start because it's the same that I use to exit full screen. Let me see what this is. Oh god, this ridiculous setup. Yeah. Might show this on stream, actually. It's pretty funny. God, this, like, is also old. This is old. This ages me. It's actually funny, it's transparent. XSplit. Remember XSplit? You remember HD PVR? But yeah, like, Game Boy players. All the multiple GameCubes. Arc Soft Capture. A sound booth. Metabot screen. Absurd. Ridiculous. A deranged gigaboot setup, yeah. Old school. That's so stupid. That's what you had to do, though. I remember. I remember. We saved the game. Yeah, you did, Fel. You did. They were extremely slow, but they did good work. Back then, I wasn't in any rush, though. These days, if I were to do, like, a new background, I would, like... I wouldn't even do pixel art, honestly, because it doesn't really fit the, It doesn't really fit the aesthetic that I have of what I do these days with the 3D model and all that. So I would go for something different. But, it's still an awesome, awesome work, though. It just unfortunately did take, like, I think 6 months or something. But there was no pressure at that point. I was like, yeah, you know, take your time and stuff. And, you know, they do great work. So this is the first time hearing whatever this is. This track. This seems fine, this music. It's not, like, really standing out to me, but it's, like, fine. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, there's non-stop pressure, that's right. You know, I think is probably, like, the most... I don't know if I call it a problem, but I'm noticing that, like... Damn it, he wouldn't move over. I'm just getting stuck. This music just sort of blends into the mix. Like, it doesn't really stand out. It's kind of quiet. It's, kind of more of an ambiance kind of thing. Felly, thank you for the subscription. Very much appreciated. Thank you for the support. So, I don't know why I'm going for this coin. But I'm going for this coin. Now, is this gonna respawn? Okay. People have been very generous the past couple streams. I'm very humbled. Right, so you... right there. Oh, you got ambushed by that. Is it safe to move? Oh, barely. Oh, Jesus. I fear that this might be one of the times where the Game Boy Advance screen real estate might be working against me on this stage. But then again, on the Super Nintendo, it's also kind of, they just ambush you, so maybe it's similar. Oh, yeah, that's probably true. Like, that's the consistent thing of, like, if it's something you get from an animal sign, then it's a one-time deal. Yeah, I think that's true. That's, like, probably how it always works. And those do indeed happen to be the worst ones. That's right. Oh yeah, this guy, he like does a whole cycle. Of course. Hopefully sometime this week I can get Sphinx done. It's, like I was saying last stream, it's been kind of on the back burner just because I have been struggling with that one. It's a combination of boring and very frustrating to play, so like doing it by myself is kind of just not a great time. So I'm kind of hoping I can get some availability on that sometime this week. And maybe finish the game or at least make more progress. Because we've been stuck on Sphinx for quite a while because it's just extremely long. I was talking about this a little bit. I don't know if I talked about it too much on stream. I think I talked about it a bit on stream. Of how I've been doing, you know, over time, like you do, more research on the console you're doing a challenge of. right? And the more I learn about the library of the GameCube, the more I get the impression that, like, that I have been sort of ooh, terrifying. I've been accidentally front-loading a lot of the nastiest games in the challenge than the GameCube library in general. So, like, there are definitely some scary games still left that I am aware of, but there's also a good number of them that are largely inconsequential and just, like, a standard time investment. So there are a lot of them that are just, like, they're just sort of, like, obvious what they are. Like, you know, a Disney game is usually a pretty standard affair, and there's, like, a bunch of those, and I've done some of them already. Every now and then they get a little nasty, but, like, they're not overly long, and they're pretty, like, they're pretty okay for what they are. And others, like, are ones that you don't really have, like, much of a notable qualification to beat. Like how some sports games turn out and things like that. And, you end up having some games that are just showcase games, right? Where they're not, like, anything you really have to worry all that much about. But then there's nightmare stuff that nobody's heard of, like Space Invaders. That's like, I think they call it Space Raiders. Yeah, they call it Space Raiders, but it's actually a Space Invaders remake, and they call it Space Invaders, like, 2 or remake or something in Japan. But yeah, Space Raiders could potentially be a really, really, really nasty game for the challenge. But it's also very short for a full attempt. It's like 20 minutes or something. Fuck. That's unfortunate. And then, of course, there's the wrestling games. Some of them, like WWE Day of Reckoning, is going to be nasty. Very rude. But that one's more of, like, get much better at the game and grind up your skill to get good. So, like, there's at least, like, tangible goals that you can work towards on that one. Even if it might take, like, a very long time to complete. There's at least something you can do with that, you know? Yeah, Day of Reckoning has a campaign story mode, and it is, the kind of campaign that requires you to master the game, like all of the mechanics, and have, like, a very keen sense for what the AI is going to do, because the campaign requires you to do specific things during a match and then win the match. So it's not just winning a match, you have to, like, do certain moves. You have to do a certain amount of things. You have to hit certain goals, essentially. Almost kind of like the Tony Hawk games, right? There's certain goals you have to meet for each match, and then you must win it. So that's sort of where those clock in at least Day of Reckoning does. And it was very, 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 very hard. And I had to end up shelving it because of making zero progress. So that one's going to be troublesome, but it's one game, you know? I have not played the Prince of Persia games, like, none of them. I've seen them played a bit here and there, but I'm not, like, very familiar with Prince of Persia. Honestly, the most I've seen of Prince of Persia is the original DOS game. I've seen a good chunk of that played because a lot of people in Twitch Retro have streamed it the past couple of years. Macaw did a bunch of it. Fractal Mind Mike did a lot of it. I think a couple other people dabbled in it. So I've seen a good amount of that, but I know that the GameCube ones are not at all like that. They're like, you know, 3D action-adventure games. But of course, yeah, there's good GameCube games. There's a decent number of good GameCube games. Yeah, it's Sands of Time and then, like, another one. I think there's, like, 2 or 3 Prince of Persia games on the GameCube. Might just be the 2. I'll be interested to see what I think of the Splinter Cell games, because there's like 4 of them on there. I have consistently heard over the years that Splinter Cell as a whole is really, really good, though. I think the main thing that people say is that while they're really good, they are very hard at times, especially the first one. So, like, it could be one of those ones where it's like, yeah, this is good, but boy, is it fucking, it's a ball buster, you know? Some games are just like that. They're fucking hard, but they're good. And hopefully that's the takeaway I have with the Splinter Cell games. But honestly, like, when I think of GameCube challenge stuff, I'm not really thinking about stuff like Prince of Persia or like your Marios or whatever. Like, I mostly am thinking about the stuff that nobody else thinks about that I have to, right? Like all those sports games and racing games and other things like that, right? That tends to be what occupies my mind more with the challenge, is thinking about those, because they make up, like, on estimate, without having the numbers right in front of me right now, I think if you combine the sports games and the racing games together, they're like 180 games. Like, they make up a large chunk of the GameCube library of 641 games total. Kind of playing this level a bit sloppy because I'm kind of just thinking about other shit. It happens. Damn. Yeah, it includes the Japanese library and the PAL library. We've already done a couple of the PAL games. The Kokoto games, we went through those. Those were PAL exclusive on the GameCube. And then, of course, you know, sometimes you also just get, like, the situation that happens a lot with the GameCube where it has a good third-party game, but it's the worst version of that third-party game, which can be unfortunate. So that tends to happen a lot with the GameCube. It's had some notable wins, though. Like, you know, Resident Evil 4 was originally on the GameCube, and it's by far that best version of the generation. As we recently learned, because we just played through it, the PS2 version of RE4 is really fucking bad. It's way better on the GameCube. It's not even a contest. Ugh. Getting itchy. Ever get itchy at random, chat? I certainly do sometimes. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they made these guys worse in this version for some reason. They seem to move much faster, and they open and close their mouths way faster. I don't know why they made them, like, hyped up on drugs. But they did. Is this backwards? I'm getting lost now. I'm losing plot here. I think I'm going down, right? Yeah, I'm going down. I think. I hope I am. Okay, I am. The end's down here. Yeah. I think the only way I'm going to finish this level is if I actually give it my full attention. So I'll have to stop looking at chat for a couple minutes just to get through this. No, you're not distracting. Chatting and being active in my Twitch chat is encouraged, and I appreciate people who chat. It comes down to the responsibility of the streamer on when to look at Twitch chat. And at the current moment, this is not one of these times, because for whatever reason, they made this level a lot harder, and they made these things cracked out. I don't know why they did that, but they made this a lot harder, so I have to lock in, or at least try to. Fuck! Brutal. I don't know why they did it this way, man. Apparently I'm safe over on the left there. That's interesting. Huh. Well, fuck. I wonder if that means I can get away with some shenanigans and just hold to the left and maybe I can avoid damage in some of these sections entirely. Yeah, this is a mean fucking level. It was a bit hard in the original, but not this hard. Wow. It's like, I've died so much in this one stage, and I've died, like, what, only one other time? Wild stuff. This is really freaking difficult. What were they thinking? Not to be like AVGN, but what the fuck? Ikonoa, welcome. Currently experiencing a very bizarre version of this level that I was not quite expecting. I'm ending up having to give a lot of my attention to it. Okay, that only works in that one section. That's interesting. Wonder why they did that. I really need to stop getting hit early into this because they don't give you another barrel. And there's going to be a clownfish that comes in here really, really quickly. Yeah. Whole bunch of them, in fact. There's one. Yeah, so this is the part where I really gotta try to not get hit. Just gonna take it slow. Yeah. Because they keep ambushing you with these guys. He's gonna come back up, because they're on a pattern. Gotta get them on the... There we go. Now, are there more down below? I would assume yes. Yep. Okay. I mean, this is nothing. These guys move way slower now. What the hell? I'm not even going to risk trying to kill them, though, because I don't trust this. So I'll just go around. There we go. That was way too hard. I don't know why they made it that way. Really was not that bad in the original. That's strange. Alright. It's done. Yeah, I haven't played Killer 7. I'm completely blind on Killer 7, and from what I've heard, that's a good thing. I legitimately know, like, basically zero about that game. Other than I heard that people like it a lot. But yeah, despite the fact that we're, like, pretty deep into this game, we're actually still got a decent ways to go because, we got some harder levels coming up here, and we also have, if I recall correctly, that the way this version works, the new world is mandatory. So, like, they force you to do a whole new set of levels to beat the game. So the fact that we have a whole other world and, like, I've barely played it, is going to make for some interesting results. Could end up having some trouble. Fuck. Well, this is going well. It sure is cool that Arn Guard will never come back. Wow, what a dickhead. Yeah, On Guard died in the war, that's right. Just like Dixie Kong died in the Kong War later. That's why she's missing in Donkey Kong 64. But yeah, the real pain points of the GameCube challenge are the unknown games and the ones nobody talk about. That's really the gist of what I was saying earlier. It's just those are the ones I think about. And then all the sports games. Sports. Sports ball. Some sports games are decently fun, but they're all grindy affairs, you know. I get your joke, Dual Edge. That's an okay joke. I gave it a 9 out of 11. Alright, what do we got here? Ropey Rumpus. What a name. Yeah, I hear good things about the street games. But of course, the street, like the arcadey variants of the sports games are much lower quantity compared to the simulation style ones, so. But at least they've got them, you know? I played a lot of NBA Jam Tournament Edition on Super Nintendo. It's actually one of the few Super Nintendo carts I still own. Diddy Kong seems to control really well in this remake. He wasn't awful on the Super Nintendo, but they seem to have buffed him quite a lot on this one. That's kind of why I've been just using him more over Dixie, because he just seems to be, like, really good for controlling in general, comparatively. I'm gonna die here, aren't I? No, we made it. Okay. And they were smart enough to put us here. Good. Yeah, probably. He was probably still, in some ways, better on even the original. I'm not a big fan of this boss. Oh, they changed it. Never mind. Oh, I remember what they did. Yeah. I forgot about this. For some reason, I thought this fellow was in the new world, but no, they swapped it. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy this. This is like one where Dixie's a bit better to have because of the hover. You can always tell when it's really obvious that this is, their own boss that they added in, huh? Much like in the second game. Yeah, this is because it's, not in the original game. This is kind of what I was talking about, where, this version, has the most differences and overhauls. Overhauls in quotes. Whether they're good ones is kind of up to you. It's for you to decide. Okay, did he get hit by something? Okay, he's taking damage off screen. That's good. Alright, they're making this... Okay. It's working out. It's working out. That might be it. There we go. Oh no, Ellie's still around. We already did all that. That was a little while ago. We already beat that boss. It's not the same world. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have the same quite the same aesthetic. So yeah, if I recall correctly, they were now going to force me to do the new original world that they made. Anything over here? I know that there's a lost world here if you keep going in a circle, but we're not doing that because that takes time. You have to get shit for that, or put in a code, and I'm good. I don't really much care for the extra levels in this game. Okay, so what are we missing? We still got this. So what do they want me to do now? Maybe oh, you know what it is? I think yeah, it's like they put it in a different spot. They put it in a different spot. There's like some extra thing that I have to do, and I have to remember where they put it. They don't like make this the most obvious thing in the world, but I think you have to go over here. Yep, this is it. So this is the new world they added, chat. Pacifica. So it's mandated that you do this in this version. It's not optional. So these are new levels that they added to this game. Which does debuff me because I don't have these memorized. I've done them before, but it's been many years between me playing this version. I'm going to assume that these will probably be pretty hard levels overall, because they added them in later. So they're probably on average going to end up being harder than even the last batch of levels in the original game. They're certainly a little cagey on giving you a Kong barrel or a checkpoint at this juncture. Would have been nice if I didn't get hit right away. Only got the letter O after all that. Well, we got the checkpoint. Yeah, before it was just a banana bird. We just had a banana bird and they souped it up. Jesus, I didn't think it would go all the way over there. That's not great. They have On Guard hidden down here. That's nice. Let's not lose them immediately. One of the things I don't much care for with these remakes is how they made On Guard just like... Sometimes be borderline impossible to get back if you get hit. So we're just kind of taking it slow. They don't let us keep him for very long. What is the point of this fucking area other than to kill me? That probably is the point. Good. Barrels are good. Well, Are you serious? Chat, did you see what just happened there? That is either an oversight on the design of the level, or they're just that rude. That is fucking rotten what they just did to me. Going down here. All right, we're done the level at least. First try. Oh boy. Barnacle Island. Barnacle's Island? What's Barnacle's Island? Some new bear they added. There's a big shark. Wow. Yeah, I don't know why they thought this was a awesome addition either, but look, it's like dark and nighttime now. The water goes up and it goes down, just like that Mario World level. You know what's a really cool game? Super Mario World. That game, pretty neat. Pretty cool video game. With an interesting Game Boy Advance version. And you're like, why are you talking about the Game Boy Advance version of Mario World? No reason. No reason at all. Don't worry about it. You know, I thought the water was actually going to go up, but I guess it doesn't. That's just the background. Almost died there. Yeah, that's a full rotation. All right. Dixie makes this level easier. But I am nervous that they have not given me a Kong barrel like the entire fucking level. Where's the trick? No trick yet. Okay. Oh, goodness. Thank goodness. Maybe it is just what I needed. Who knows? Who knows? I know the joke, though. Don't worry. I get it. But really, that line of just what I needed, that's fine. But that's not the real shit. The real shit is, have you heard what Toad sounds like in Mario Advance 1? Have you heard what that fucker sounds like? Steel barrel right at the start. Okay. You have? Oh, good. I'm sure there are a lot of people who haven't, though. What if the forest was flooded? That is what this ROM hack level aims to answer. But yeah, I honestly, like, even for the swimming, they made the swimming, like, more in line with the Super Nintendo swimming. Like, they actually have some of the same movement tech that was not actually implemented in, GBA 1 and 2. So, like, in general, I think I've played enough of this version to conclude that they did, in fact, fix the controls and a lot of the physics. It's still not perfect. There are still some notable flaws. But this is, like, definitely a notable step up from the last two, just in terms of the physics and shit. A lot of things are more correct. The first two are quite disastrous, to be frank. Like, it's one of those things where I wish it was easier to convey, but you kind of have to know the games as well as I do to, like, really appreciate how fucked up they get. This is making me nervous. I see that there. I want that. No! Terrible! I am vibing with Kitty's screams at the moment. You forget, does he sound like modern Toad, screeches and all? He sure does. He sure fucking does. There's actually a ROM hack to turn off all the... Man, those fish are awful. There's a ROM hack to turn off the sounds that the Mario Advance games add. But then, are you really playing Mario Advance? Is that the real experience? I don't know if it is. So these things are evil. The trick is to not go in the center. That's what I'm learning. You want to go off to the sides. The center is bait. Tempted by prizes indeed. Oh. Oh, it's one of these. Okay. I thought I just had to go through the one hole and time it, but they actually want me to go all the way around. Makes more sense. I'm not gonna get this, though. I'm gonna definitely get hit or lose the time. Oh, wow, I got it. Wow. Amazing. Oh, these guys are back. How long does this level need to be, guys? Oh, fuck off. Oh, okay, we're at the end. Good, good, good. I was gonna say, if this keeps dragging on, it's gonna end in me dying, and again, I would have had to redo it. Yeah, I guess we would. I think, like, the early ones are, like, less annoying, so I might check them out. Stampede Sprint is a pretty awful level, but it's also, if you watch the collab I did with Gigaboots, it's way harder than it looks, and that because we had pounds of input latency. It's still not a great level, but, like, it was kind of represented as a lot worse than it was because it's, like, almost impossible to complete with, like, the insane amount of lag we were experiencing. But you don't necessarily have to imagine, because you can kind of get the idea if you check out the VOD someday. It's all up on the Gigaboot stream archive. Good checkpoint barrel. But yeah, I think we were stuck on that one stage for like an hour or 40 minutes. It was pretty dire. Ah, damn it. Yeah, that's rude, having that guy just immediately appear. Alright, so some of these are, like, kind of similar to Slipside Ride, where they're trying to get you with the buzzers. Slightly off screen. Fuck, that's rude. There's a Kong barrel around the side there. Oh, yeah, I remember the bonus barrel you're talking about. Well, we weren't getting the barrels. We just did the cheat code so we could play all the levels. It was completely untenable to, like, get everything manually. So we used codes for the sequel games. We were more interested in showcasing the levels and the content rather than subjecting ourselves to the gauntlet of true completionist. But I know the bonus you're talking about because I did all that years and years and years ago. I know what you mean. I don't remember like all the exact particulars, but I know it's like a very precise timed jump at like the very end or something that you have to do in order to get it, and if you don't get it, you have to redo it. Alright, so we got an underwater stage with wind. Okay. Or currents, I guess, in this case. Cool. This could be annoying. I wonder how much I'm gonna hate this. I think I might hate this a lot. Looks like I went the wrong way. I wonder if I'm going to be stuck on this for a while. This looks rude. Okay, we got our checkpoint. These are essentially like I kind of remembered them being. They're kind of like ROM hack levels. They have a pretty high difficulty ceiling. It's kind of weird that they structured it this way and made this mandatory for progression. Because in comparison, at least in my opinion, the actual last world, like, worth of levels, excluding the Lost World, or whatever they call it in this, K3 or whatever. This is harder than any of those levels outside of, again, the special ones. So it's a weird difficulty curve to be like in the remake and be like, yo, here are some levels that are way fucking harder, and then the ones after this will be way easier. Bit of a weird decision. I think this is the end of the level. I don't know what those are supposed to be other than a visual representation of there being a current. I don't care about getting the shit. I'm just getting to the next area. I'm gonna say that I made that look a lot easier than it actually was. I had to do a bunch of advanced swim tech to even survive that. At least by doing it faster. What the hell is this? Okay, auto-scroller. Fun. Already a checkpoint? I don't believe you. It's gonna be one of those checkpoints that are like less than halfway through the level. iframes are really bad there. They really should have lasted longer than that, but okay. So I was kind of hoping to just tank the iframes there and just not engage with that section, since I had gotten hit and all. Yeah, the visibility is pretty terrible. You have correctly assessed that. That wasn't too bad. It's definitely required me to give almost my full concentration, though, because they are much harder levels. So this is just the normal boss, unless they changed it, which they probably did. They probably altered it a little bit. But yeah, this is the boss that originally should have been in the other world, but they, like, swapped him around with a different boss for some fucking reason. Right, so we just meant to, yeah. I really don't like this boss because it's a long fight, and it's easy to fuck up. I don't know if they made it easier or more lenient. We're gonna find out, I guess. It kind of feels like they made it more lenient. I just have to get the right setup. The timing is definitely different from the original. And by different, I would say easier, because I would have probably been hit multiple times if I had fucked up this badly. It's also in the original really easy to hit the spikes, even if you're going right for the center. Sometimes On Guard's hitbox is so fucked in the original that he'll just get hit anyway. Yeah, they made that way more lenient. If I had done that on SNES, I would have been hit. So that is an improvement. Like, that's just an upgrade. Every now and then, this version does just surprise me. It's like, yeah, they made that better. Did they lower the cycles? I thought there was supposed to be another hit in there. They might have made him... They might have just removed the cycle. Yeah, that's way easier. Interesting. Yeah, that boss is awful on Super Nintendo. So that was surprising. The levels were ball busters, but, like, the boss himself was kind of nothing. What? Why'd that happen? What the fuck? $30 coins short of the deposit for my top gear. What? Since when is that a thing we have to do? Is that necessary? Maybe I'm misremembering. Can I not just go to the end? Hold on. Hold on. Let's investigate. Do I actually need that to get to the last world? I can use the turbo ski, okay. So, okay. So that was optional then. Okay, because I remembered for some reason it was mandatory. I guess it's only mandatory for the 100%. Regardless, I was going to show that world anyway, because, like, it's a whole new world of content. It's exclusive to this version. I had to show it. That's good, though. I don't have to deal with that collectathon BS. So now we're on the last world, excluding the bonus stages, which we'll take a look at, because again, one of the chatters was saying I can do the first 2 levels. And we'll take a gander at least, try to, and see how that goes, but definitely not endeavoring to... Fuck, why didn't you jump? Not endeavoring to do all that. Wow, amazing bonus stage. Welcome to bonus stage. Oh, hey, music exists now. I was wondering if it was going to actually start. Yeah, some of the bonuses are really, really hard, and then others are, like, brain dead. Sort of just all over the place. You know, it's a really awesome game, chat. Mario Odyssey. That's a pretty awesome video game. I definitely want to play that again. Probably won't be for a long time, though, because I'd rather play the enhanced Switch 2 version, which, like we were discussing earlier, is highly unlikely going to happen anytime soon. But there's a lot of great games to play, so I'm not in a rush. Yeah, Mario Odyssey, I think, might be my favorite 3D platformer, but I haven't played... Like, it's hard, right? Because there's a lot that I still haven't played, or I haven't revisited in a long time, so it's really hard to make full assessments. Like, I know for some people, their favorite 3D platformer isn't even, like, something from Nintendo or whatever. Like, sometimes they're indies. Like, I know for some people, Hat in Time is their #1, you know? And I haven't played Hat in Time much at all yet. I've, like, very briefly dabbled in it off stream, but, like, nothing serious. Hat in Time looks really cool, though. Hey, crappy username. They sure did. You actually just missed one of the most substantial, things they added to this version, which was a whole new set of levels. And a new boss. We literally just finished that. Fuck. But there's a VOD. There will be a VOD. Either on YouTube in higher quality, or Twitch if that's your preference. I was talking about that the other day on Blue Sky, just mentioning it briefly, that, like, I'm, like, one of the 2 people I know who records VODs above 1080p. The only other person I know who does that is Gigaboots. Which the Gigaboots does 4K, I do 1440p. Damn. Thanks for the follow. Follows are anonymous. I really hated this gimmick. This is like one of my least favorite levels in the fucking original game, and it's no better here. They did nothing to improve this. I find this to be fairly loathsome. I know what they want me to do there, and I'm not having it. we go. Glad that's over with. Yeah, it's a terrible level. That's what I mean by, like, gimmicks that are just fucking annoying. Like, almost all the levels in this final world are just annoying fucking gimmicks nonstop. It's, like, one of the things I don't have a strong, like, a good opinion of with this game is these are all annoying levels. It was a lot worse with the shitloads of input latency with that, yeah. It was not a good time. I guess that lightning no longer kills the beetle on the ground. The sound effect is rather unfortunate, but what are you gonna do, right? Not really much you can do to make it sound good on the GBA. I don't know if there's any differences with the lightning on this version. It feels relatively similar, other than the hitboxes being a bit different. This level's not that bad, as long as you're paying attention and you don't have awful bugs like that happened to me. Like, I don't mean that as, like, a pun. That was a literal bug. Like, Diddy Kong was not supposed to die from hitting an enemy with a barrel. That happens sometimes on the other versions, too. It's, very annoying. I will read your question in a moment, because I cannot look away. This level being what it is. Ugh. Well, that was bad RNG. Really not much I could have done about that. What's my opinion on Donkey Kong Land 3? I remember it being mostly fine. It was alright. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember much about Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3. They didn't stand out as much in my brain as 1. 1 seemed to have more original levels. But it was also, like, stood out because it's the most bootleg and, like, the hardest of the 3. So, mostly I just remember Donkey Kong Land 1. The other 2 just kind of whatever to me in terms of, like, brain space. I haven't gone through those games in, like, 3 years. It's the same with this one. I haven't gone through this in 3 years. I did all of this, like, a few years ago on stream. I might have been able to avoid that. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, good. Yeah, there we go. I was fucking close. Jeez. All right. Should they remove Kiddy Kong? Well, Kiddy Kong doesn't really add or take away anything from the game. You could replace Kiddy Kong with Donkey Kong and nothing would change about how the game plays. Because Kiddy Kong doesn't have an identity of his own. As part of his problem is, like, a character is other than being the big dumb baby nobody likes. He doesn't actually have any unique gameplay qualities. So it always ended up being a bit of a strange idea that they would have Kiddy Kong at all. But I guess they were really attached to the idea of having a new Kong every game. For some reason. This level is pretty annoying, but if you just as long as you don't lose Dixie, you're fine. If you know the tricks, as long as you have Dixie, it's okay. That's just the trick. That's just the trick. Just don't lose Dixie. Why did that happen? I don't think I pushed down on the D-pad. What? Whatever. Maybe I did somehow. Oh, it wasn't that long ago since I got the checkpoint. That's kind of like the same thing with the first Donkey Kong Country game, is don't lose Diddy Kong unless you have to for speedrun move. Don't lose Diddy Kong. The game gets a lot easier if you just don't lose Diddy. And that's same vibes here. Okay. There we go. See, it's not that bad, as long as you know the techniques with Dixie. Just don't lose the Kong. And it's easy. Oh boy, reverse controls. Remember this? Gimmicks. We got gimmicks. What if we reverse the controls? Haha. We're so funny. No, there's music. It just takes 500 years to start. There's a couple other tracks in the game that do the same thing for some stupid reason. They just like take like 30 seconds before they actually start playing the music. So they just have an ambient thing to start with. And that was certainly a decision that David Wise made. Wow, that's a long cycle. Jesus. God damn it. That spot's always really tight. And then that's the great, because I have these fuckers to deal with. Fuck. This is a section where it's a lot harder. Kiddy Kong's not great for this section. He has a larger hitbox. I'm gonna try and, I say that and immediately lose him again. I try to front load the worst Kongs ahead so that I have a higher chance of getting the good Kong for the tougher section. But I kind of did it a little too soon. I mean, ideally, you don't get hit at all, but easier said than done with this fucking part. God. Yeah, this is a level I do not like. Because again, for those who do not know, the controls are reversed when you're in the water. But even if they weren't reversed, some of these parts are still difficult. They're still just asshole placements. Really should have swapped. Because now I'm dooming myself with this fat ass. I couldn't stop the momentum. At least we have a lot of lives. I don't think lives matter in this version, though. Because you can just save anytime you want. So, like, I don't even know what a game over screen looks like on this. And I probably never will. Fuck that level. Wretched. Wretched level. Anyway, we're at the final boss. I hate this boss. I don't know if they made it easier, I forget. I fucking hate this boss, but I have done it a lot, but they also might have changed a bunch of things about it to make it more annoying, or slightly different so it fucks me up. This is your classic bloated, rare boss that takes 500 years. And no, I'm not talking about this boss, you'll see. Oh, am I not? Oh, I have to use the barrel, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, slightly different gimmick here. Let's get to the other side, I think. Or do I? I forget. This isn't really the boss that I remember. Because this guy's not really the big problem. As you can see. Yeah, it does. And in the Super Nintendo, it does as well. Gotta drink some of my cold brew. It's not cold anymore at this point. Room temperature brew. Yak, 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 yak. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Alright. Does this work? That still works, okay. Alright. Gotta do that. Wait for him to do his turn. I wonder if they made the hitbox better in this version, because that was one of the big problems with this fight. Is his hitbox is fucking rancid. Itchy. Stop. I'm trying to do a boss fight. Oh, I fucked that up. Should have stayed on the ground. Unfortunate that I'm stuck with Dixie. Her throw's not good. Kind of not great for parts of this fight. What? Why didn't you grab the thing? Excuse me? I don't agree with that. Yeah, you do. It's its own separate boss. I wonder if this version adds an additional checkpoint. Be curious to find out. Although it'd be just nice if I just get the rest of this and don't have to do any part of it again. That'd be more ideal. Yeah, it's about the same as SNES if I recall. All the animations are a bit different and often higher frame rate. But, okay, that's a thing that happens, I guess? Did that even happen in the original? I don't even remember that. Since when is that a thing? Did that just one of the weird idiosyncrasies they changed? One of the things to fuck me up so I have to do the fight 500 times? But I do not remember that at all. Like, what was that? Yeah, like, the platforms just did their own thing. I don't remember that being a thing in the original. Anyway, yeah, classic rare boss, takes a million years. I got time, you know? It's not like I'm feeling pressured or anything. It's just one of those annoying things. It always has been. It's like another big downer about this game for me is just the classic overly protracted long rare boss fight. It's a bummer. It's just another thing that is kind of just a blight on this game for me. And so far, the SNES version is, or the GBA version rather, is not really making this fight any better, other than maybe it has a better hitbox, maybe. But then it has other weird shit, like with whatever the fuck the platforms were doing. I don't even actually know what I'm supposed to do against that. I don't know what the winning move is here. Okay, what are you doing? I guess I have to crouch there. Okay. Sure. Okay. Cool. You do that. What is this cycle? What are you doing? Dude. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of broken. That's not like it is on SNES. Why is he following me? Awful, awful. Yeah, they fucked this up. This isn't supposed to do this. So yeah, they actually kind of made parts of this fight just worse. Good job, everyone. Great work all around. At least it counted, but I'm down a Kong because it fucked me. Okay, that's my mistake. Yeah, they made the hitbox better. That's at least something. Credit where it's due. Yeah, so we're done here. Good. So there's like some improvements to that fight. They made the hitbox a lot more generous. That's good. But then they fundamentally fucked up the whole platform thing. I don't know how they managed this, but... So that's kind of just more of a mixed result. Some things were better, some things were worse. And yeah, the sprites are rough as fuck. This is obviously not the best ending, because much like the SNES version, you have to spend 5 million years getting 500,000 collectibles. And also in this version, you have to do mini-games, which we're going to be looking at more of those mini-games. Wow, they're reusing the sprites for the black boss fight and the throwing thing. You notice that? that's really cheap. That's really cheap. My 80% speed run, I ranked 128. Wow. So these are their credit roll. The credit roll in the SNES version was also really fucking budget and crappy, so this kind of just falls in line with that. Thank you for the GGs. We're gonna be checking out the, we're gonna be checking out the minigames next. And there's also the Lost World stuff I might poke in and look at briefly. Not for very long, though. I'll probably end up getting annoyed by the Stampede level and be like, no, I'm good. This music is a choice for your credits. Maybe it's different at 100%. In this version, they call it 106% for the real completionist. Wow. 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 I'm a so-so simian. Alright. I think it's the other way. Clockwise, not counter-clockwise. Unless they also change the requirement for this. Make you do another thing, but it's probably the same. Yeah, it's the same. I got an achievement for finding this place. This guy's a boomer. Get him. Kill his ass. Destroy him. Annihilate this boomer. Yeah, the hard mode stuff is required for the extra percentage. And for the achievement set for this, you would have to do the hard mode and all that. At least with this version, based off of all my experience so far, would not be as awful as it was for Donkey Kong Country 1 on GBA. Because I did all that off stream, by the way. Yesterday, I finished that out. I didn't do the whole set, because the minigames are left, and they're, like, basically broken garbage that you have no control over. Oh, so they changed the number because... Yeah, they changed it to 18, I guess, because they added that whole other world, right? So they changed the amount. They kind of, like, just compensated. So we can only do this one. But that's the one people want to see. They want to see Stampede Sprint. The minigames are fucking atrocious in these remakes. Especially for the Donkey Kong Country 1 and GBA. It is, like, beyond the pale. You have to keep the bird alive for the entire level to get the bonus, right? That's like the gimmick or whatever. And there you go. That wasn't so bad. It's only if you're trying to get the fucking bird to stay alive. But yeah, I can't do any more without doing all the completionist garbage, so no thank you. I'm good. Maybe off stream. Sometime off stream, I will work on that, perhaps, but I'm not in a big rush. Alright, so minigames. I already showed off the cranky one, but there's a funky one. I guess since he's nearby, we'll take a look at that first. It's weird that they boot you out of here, and you have to go back in. Right. So, these challenges, I think they're probably the same as what we saw in the second game. It's like probably the exact same minigame. But we'll take a look. Oh, it's different. Okay. Like Spy Hunter or some shit. What are these controls? Okay. This is kind of Spy Hunter-esque. Sort of what it reminds me of. I don't know if I'm like racing them or if I'm killing them or both. I didn't want to read like the mountains of instructions from Funky because I don't care. I just wanted to show them off. Okay, you can kill them, it looks like. Number goes up, I see. I see, yep, okay. So it's basically just a race against time, kill them all. My overall opinion on the new soundtrack is it's largely mixed. There are a few tracks that are pretty good, but they don't really match their levels at all. So like they might be pretty okay or good music on a more appropriate level, but not for this game. And then the rest of the music just is bad. Like a lot of the rest of the music is just fucking bad. So I mostly would say I lean negative on this new soundtrack, but there are a few. I guess I have to go back in here to get the boat. So it's just another one of their references to one of their past games then. So it's like a Cobra Triangle thing. Yeah. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with all of Rare's library, but slowly over time I seem to be getting more familiar whether I want to or not. Donkey Kong 64 was certainly very adamant that I experience more of that. Alright, so this is the only other thing we didn't show as far as minigames go. Swanky's Dash. No miners allowed. Only Dixie. Collect as many gold stars as you can before the time runs out. Watch out for the spiky obstructions, though. They make you drop any stars that you've collected. Fun. I vaguely remember this. I'm sure as soon as I see it, I'll be like, ah, yes, this thing. Pressing the A button will make you jump, while pressing the down on the control pad will make you duck. Yep, okie doke. Oh, God. This is the... Yeah, this is just literally the Sonic shit. Okay. Ooh, this is rough. The frame rate on this is bad. What were they thinking? EVGN mode. This is also not very good on a bigger screen. It's kind of disorienting and bad. It's almost like getting the full retro achievement masteries for these portable games is a fucking nightmare. Gee, I wonder why. It's definitely not because all the minigames are fucking rancid garbage. My head's spinning. Time up. They don't say that in this game. Not good enough. You gotta try harder. I suggest avoiding the spiky balls. A pittance, a pity prize. Anyway, I think that's all the minigames. So we've largely seen basically all the content and stuff that this version has to offer. We saw the Cranky Dojo thing. It's whatever. That one seems to be the best out of the minigames, to be honest. It's not interesting, but it's like, it feels the most functional. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. I guess I can save the game. Not that it really matters, but... There we go. Yeah, we finished that with plenty of time to spare. I didn't really think it would go the full 4 hours, but I wasn't sure, you know? Like, I wasn't fully certain how it would go. But I'm glad we got through with that with, like, a lot of time to spare. So that's good. I'm happy with the results there. So yeah, that was Donkey Kong Country 3 on the Game Boy Advance. That ends our whole retrospective of that weird GBA remake trilogy. So I hope it was enlightening.